Well, many of us have heard about Tornado Alley. That's an area where tornadoes frequently pop up, but the area called that may be shifting. WFMY News 2 meteorologist Christian Morgan explains.
Well, if you have an inquisitive mind about weather, then you know or at least have heard of Tornado Alley. For decades, the mention of that phrase has immediately brought to mind pictures of wide open plains in states like Texas and Oklahoma, where monster twisters have carved out paths through small towns and farmland. But recent studies suggest that Tornado Alley isn't where it used to be. In fact, it's on the move. So let's raise that weather IQ. So Tornado Alley isn't an officially designated region. It's just a term used to describe parts of the central U.S. with the highest frequency of tornadoes. And traditionally, that includes states like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and even South Dakota. The ingredients there in the weather, such as dry air from the Rockies, moist air from the Gulf, and others have all lent a hand in increasing the frequency and the strength of tornadoes in these regions. But in recent years, we've been noticing that the highest frequency of strong tornadoes is no longer in the Great Plains, but in parts of the southeast U.S., a region often referred to as the Dixie Alley. And the Dixie Alley has more trees, hills, and is more densely populated, which can actually make tornadoes more dangerous and harder to detect. So we have sort of a new Tornado Alley, although this too isn't anything official. Take a look at this study from Northern Illinois University. In meteorology, we sometimes use what's called the STP index. It combines certain criteria in each weather setup to assess the likelihood of tornadoes. And it's really easy to see how that likelihood is lower over the old Tornado Alley and much higher to the east and across the Dixie Alley from the late 1970s through the 2010s. In addition, also look at this map from our partners at Climate Central. You can easily see that since 1979, there's a lot more tornadoes east of the original Tornado Alley. So states like Kentucky and Tennessee have seen more tornadoes, while it seems like there have been less tornadoes out over the plains. So why is this so-called shift happening? Well, meteorologists have a few good ideas that include drier weather over the plain states, rising temperatures east of the Mississippi River, and honestly, there's just more awareness, more folks living in the southeast and more folks reporting tornadoes. So it's hard to say whether or not it's a product of a changing climate or just part of a 30 to 40 year weather cycle. Either way, the migration of Tornado Alley is a stark reminder that weather patterns are not fixed in place and can and will change as the atmosphere evolves. And it's time that our maps and our minds caught up. With your weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Christian Morgan.
If you have a question about how the weather works, we want to hear about it. Text your question to 336-379-5775. Your question could become our next Weather IQ. We'll be right back.